Hello, welcome to Code Zero, a series of videos that explores the world of code. My name is Pragma. Have a great time learning about code.
Hello, it is Dr. Abstract at zimjs.com. Welcome back to Code Zero. In the last Code Zero, we downloaded a template and we put some code in the template, and the code made a circle on the stage. Let's go take a look at that code now. Here it is. And if you don't have this code, you should go back to the last Code Zero and start from there. We made a new Zim circle with a radius of 200 and a color of blue, and we stored that in a variable called circle. This is a label, so we can use it later. Oh, here it is, circle.center on the stage. So that adds the circle to the stage and centers it. And then we updated the stage. So let's take a look at that in a browser. And there it is. We're using the Zim fit template. So there's our circle in the browser. We talked about this code last time a little, but I'd like to talk about it more. For instance, where did center come from? Where did stage come from? And these other things. So we're coding in a language called JavaScript, but JavaScript does not have a center. JavaScript does not have a stage, etc. So they must have come from somewhere. And if we scroll up, to the top here, the stage, which is where we put things that we want to see on the canvas, comes from CreateJS. That's a free JavaScript library that helps us do things on the canvas, such as gives us a stage and various events that we'll see later, and more. Center, CreateJS doesn't have a center command. With CreateJS, we can add something to the stage, but then we would have to center it ourselves. So the center command comes from Zim, which is another library that helps us do more things in JavaScript for the canvas and CreateJS. Let's go down and see what we mean. Come on down here. So if we did not have Zim, or we were not using the center, let's see how we would have done this in CreateJS. We would have said stage.add child circle. Oops, circle. So here we tell the stage to add a child. Oh, isn't that cute? Now the circle is a child of the stage. And that would add it. Let's see where it puts it, this circle on the stage. Ah, there it is, up there. And this is called position 0, 0, because we have X and Y. And the circle, because we haven't said what its X and Y is, we'll start off at 0, 0 up here. And the circle center gets put at 0, 0. And we'll talk more about that later. Let's just see what these X and Y's look like. If we wanted to center this, note that it's not centered. If we wanted to center it, we would want to center it at an X that is the stage width. So this is the width of the stage divided by 2. So right here. And then this is the height of the stage, and we would divide that by 2 here, and then our circle would be centered. So we can try that. Let me just show you the X and Y though. I'll do that quickly by asking for a new zim.grid for the stage. And we will refresh this. And there's a grid. I'll just change it to pixels rather than percent with the P key. And you can see if I move my cursor right up to the top corner, then it gets to 0, 0 if I can do it. I'm sure I can. That's 1, 1, but yeah, there we go, 0, 0. And if I go all the way to the edge, I would see the stage width 1024 and the stage height 768 probably, if I can get the 8 out of that. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And in the fit template, these just shrink along with it, or get bigger, shrink, or grow. Okay, I'm going to remove the grid though. I guess I can comment that out. So to move the circle then, we can use properties of the circle. Circle.x is equal to the stage width divided by 2. And we can do the same thing. I'll copy this. In Atom, you can just put your cursor on the line, hit Control-C, Control-V, or Apple-C, Apple-V. And then we will change these to the Y property and the stage height. So whether we put this before or after we add the circle to the stage does not matter. Circle.x is equal to the stage width divided by 2. Circle.y is equal to the stage height divided by 2. Let's just see where we get the word stage and stage width and stage height from. If we scroll up here, here they are. This is a Zim frame, and we'll talk more about that later. But the frame has a property called stage, and a property called width, and a property called height. And we've just stored these in variables that are shorter. So stage, we can now use stage to say the frame stage, and stage W to say the frame's width, etc. Okay. And let's see if that worked. If it puts the circle at the center of the stage. We save that and refresh here, and our grid should go away, and our circle is at the center of the stage. Wow! Okay. So why didn't we just use CreateJS? Well, this is a little bit longer, isn't it? To add the circle to the stage and center it. And I used to do it that way and just found that after doing it many times, I got a little lazy. And that's a good thing for coders, to be lazy. I said to myself, I don't want to have to do that all the time. So I'm going to take this out, and I cut it, and I put it into Zim. And then we said, hey, I'm just going to delete the grid. We said, hey, I'll make Zim have a center command that does all of this, that does that. So, oops, we cut that. And the center will do all of that. So we took that stuff out. And when we take something out, there's another word for that. If we take something out from something, that's called abstraction. Abstract. Abstraction. Maybe I should have kept it capitals because it is very important in code. So we used abstraction. I'll just comment this. So to comment, it's Control and then the /. And you can select all the lines and comment and uncomment just quickly like that. So that's called abstraction. It's very important in code. We took this out and we put it somewhere else. And then we call it with one word, center. If you think of abstract art, have you heard of that? Abstract art, we took out the details of the art and left it simpler. And that's a good thing, sometimes, to be simple. There's more places that we have abstracted as well. For instance, this circle. Maybe before we go on and talk about that, I've been talking about properties such as x and y. So when we set the x, we called that a property. And when we looked up here, and I'll just comment that property. Okay, and up here, the stage property of the frame, so that's a property as well. And then here we have what's called a method. A method. A method is like a verb. It does something. And a property is like an adjective. It describes something. Neat, huh? Sound familiar? So the property, just uncomment that, a property is a word or a word or a character, a symbol, etc. Symbols that follow the dot, but they don't have the round bracket. So the method follows the dot as well, but it gets the round brackets that allows us to do more things or describe how we're going to do the things inside of these round brackets. Okay, whereas the property, you just assign a single value to the property. So even though that's two parts, it results in a single value. This is called an expression. We don't need to worry about that too much right now. And we assign that to the property. Okay, so we were talking about abstraction. This is also abstract because there is code that we took out that makes a circle. So there's CreateJS code that makes a circle. It looks like this. Var shape is equal to a new CreateJS dot shape. So here we're using the CreateJS namespace instead of Zim, although Zim also has a shape, but more on that later. And then we can say the shape has a property called its graphics property. And with that, the graphics property holds all of the commands that allow us to draw shapes. One of those is dot begin fill. A fill is the color that it's filled with, so we would say blue. And then we could shape.graphics.draw circle. This is the draw circle method that we're using on the graphics property. And that would start at 0, 0, and it would be 200 in radius. So there we go. This is how we would draw a circle in CreateJS. And after drawing a few circles, it was sort of like, that's a little lengthy. I would rather abstract this, cut, and provide a nice single simple way to draw a circle each time. It's not to say that CreateJS is bad because they didn't do it in a simple way. CreateJS gave us a very flexible way, a very general way. Hey, let's start with just a general shape, and then we can change its color one way. And whatever shape we want is here, separated. So this is more flexible. We can draw many different types of shapes, all with this format. But if many times we draw certain specific shapes, we might want to simplify that and say, well, okay, let's abstract that and make specifically a circle. Or we'll abstract something similar and make specifically a rectangle. And so that is what Zim has done, which allows us to very simply make a circle, a rectangle, a triangle, and a thing called a blob. Neat, huh? So abstraction is very important in code. It's important because we like to be lazy. We like to do things in the easiest manner. So abstraction helps with that. You find things in common and take it out. Now I'll comment that out. Another thing that was a little tricky when working with CreateJS was to later, if we wanted to change the color of the shape or color of the circle, you had to store the command that we used to begin the fill. So we would store that in a variable, and later we would change that stored variable. We would set the color on that. And that was a bit strange for me. I would rather just say circle dot color is equal to, say, red. So now, what is that? Is that a property or a method? Indeed, it's a property, color, and we're assigning that red. Okay, so let's see if that worked, shall we? Let me save that, and we refresh here. Ooh, we have a red circle. Yay! So I think that's good for this code 0. We talked about where these things came from, such as center and stage, and we talked about abstraction. JavaScript didn't have any of this really. Well, it had a few things to draw things, okay, on the canvas. It had enough so that we could draw it. CreateJS came along and said, oh, those few things are a little bit difficult, let's make them easier. And then Zim came along and said, oh, CreateJS does wonderful things. We could make them a bit more specific and therefore simpler. Let's do that. And so that's how these libraries have helped one another. And that's nice because Zim didn't have to do everything that JavaScript did and everything that CreateJS did. And CreateJS didn't have to do everything that JavaScript did. We're helping one another. And that's good in code. Yay! In the next code 0, we will take a look at more methods and properties, such as how would we drag that circle? Ooh, doesn't that sound fun? So come back for the next code 0. I am Dr. Abstract, and from Dr. Abstract and Pragma, have a great day.